Hey guys, what's up? My name is Jordi and welcome to my course. In this video lesson, we're going to take a look at the firmware of the DSLR camera. So you have to look at the DSLR camera as a small computer. You know, a computer consists out of hardware, the case, and the operating system on it. For example, Windows or Macintosh or Linux or anything like that. Now, for smaller devices, we don't speak about an operating system. We speak about a firmware. And a firmware can be updated, can give you extra functionality, can fix bugs, etc. It allows the user to interact with the hardware actually. When you take a look at the Canon's firmware, it's very good to check out the Canon's website often to find out whether there are updates or not. And currently I'm on the Canon website and you just search for your device that you have. So for me in this case, I have the Canon 5D Mark II and it's right here. And you just click on drivers and software. And then you can choose your operating system. Let's say Mac, doesn't care, Lion, and I go to the firmware tab. And here you can see I can download a 5D firmware. Always try to check that out. You know, there were some very popular firmware updates, and then I'm looking at the 5D Mark II when finally the 24p firmware came out. And that was something cinematographers really liked. And also for the Canon 7D, they finally had manual audio control, which allowed them to capture audio onto the camera itself. That were some of the great firmware updates, but what also happened a lot was bug fixes. So really try to check out the website whether there is a new update or not. So then how do we install this update or this new firmware? Well, you just click on download on the Canon website, and that will give you one little file. Drag that file onto your SD card or CF card of your camera, onto the root directory, then just stick that SD card or CF card into your camera and head over to the firmware update menu. If you click on that, it will ask you whether to install that update, yes or no. Click OK, wait several seconds or a minute, and the new update has been installed. It's that simple. So when it comes to firmwares, that's actually about it. There's nothing more to tell you. So why do I have a whole lesson about this then? Well, you've heard me talking about Magic Lantern a lot during this course. Well, finally it has come so far. In this lesson, I'm going to show you what Magic Lantern is. Now, before I'm going to talk about Magic Lantern, I'm going to warn you. Magic Lantern is not a Canon firmware. It is not official. So that means you have to use it at your own risk. It could break your camera. However, I do also have to say that there are no confirmed stories about a camera that broke because of Magic Lantern. Also, a little background information about me and my relationship with Magic Lantern. I've been using it since the early days, and before I started with my own business, I was a very active beta tester for the software. So that means before it went into the world, I had to test out the software first. And today I also use the software whenever I go shoot something for a client. So I really trust the software. However, I still warn you to use it at your own risk. Also, this software is being used a lot in the professional world. Not only me, but a lot of filmmakers are using this software because it really gives you some awesome extra functionality. Now, how does Magic Lantern work technically? You install Magic Lantern just the way you install a Canon's firmware. You just drag the files onto your SD card or CF card, and then you go to firmware update and you just perform the update. Now, the good thing about Magic Lantern is that it works beside the Canon firmware. That means you still have the Canon firmware onto your camera. It doesn't wipe out anything. So that makes the software also pretty safe to use. And when you head over to their website, which is magiclantern.fm, you can find all the documentation you need to install the software, to check out what are the functionalities, blog posts, well, anything, to uninstall the software, etc., etc. Alright guys, I have created a little video which I'm going to show you, which will guide you through Magic Lantern and which will show you some of its important functionalities. So first of all, after you have installed Magic Lantern, you will see that your firmware version will be, first of all, a number, and that indicates the Canon firmware. And then comes the Magic Lantern version. So in this case, I'm running the 2.3 Next, and that is an alpha build, actually a nightly build, as they also say. It hasn't released yet, but still I'm using it because I trust the software. And then you head over to Live View. There we are, and you can already see the interface of Magic Lantern, and it provides a lot of features. On the top, you've got these audio meters, which are extremely handy. And then down below, we've got some measurement tools like that advanced histogram. We've got a waveform and all that kind of stuff. And then when we go to the menu, we see we've got all these tabs. These are all the extra functionality. That is what's so great about this. This has nothing to do with Canon. This is all from Magic Lantern. So first of all, we start with the audio tab. You really have a lot of functionality when it comes to audio. And one of the great things that I really like about the audio functionality within Magic Lantern is that you are able to monitor through the camera. That is normally not possible. Now what this does is it allows you to monitor through the audio video jack. So that is a standard definition output of your camera. Normally you don't use it, so they have remapped it to an audio monitoring jack. And that is also what I use in my camera. Now, the signal that comes out of there is very weak, so you have to put an amplifier behind that. You also have a built-in sound recorder, so whenever you want to do only sound, then it's much easier to use the sound recorder, of course. It works way better than with all these video files. You can even play them back, delete them. You have full control over them. All right, and then the next tab is the exposure tab. And there's one thing I would really like to show you here, and that is the ISO. So normally these are the steps here. You know, I can go up to a maximum of 6400 ISO with my camera. Now I've got a 5D Mark II, and that is my maximum ISO. Now what Magic Lantern allows me to do is go beyond that ISO. I can go to a maximum of 819,000 ISO. It does come with a lot of noise and your image is going to look very greenish, but this is almost a night vision shot that we can do. A great functionality that Magic Lantern provides me. Then the next thing is the overlay, like zebras that I was talking about. And you can even change the settings. You can really customize how the zebras work. Same thing goes for focus peaking. They work also very fast on your monitor. You can add crop marks whenever you want to do like your CinemaScope and all that kind of stuff. You have advanced waveforms, you've got vector scopes, measurement tools that aren't even there in the camera, false color, etc., etc. It really gives you a lot of functionality on the overlay. And the next is at the movie tab, and this is also something cool. You can change the bitrate of the encoding of your video files. Now you can increase this bitrate to see less artifacts within your video file. Now it's not extreme, but it is, but it works a little bit. So that is also something very cool. Then next we have some things like frames per second and HDR video. You know, you can lower the frames per second. You can go on to 2 frames per second or something like that. HDR video doesn't work that well yet, but you know, it's there. It's very fun to experiment with. And then finally, you've got movie tweaks, and something very sweet there is movie restart. So you can really put one of your cameras, one of your DSLR cameras, as an unmanned camera to shoot something like a theater or something like that. Because DSLR cameras can only shoot like 12 seconds per clip, and that will restart your camera again with recording, so you don't have to press the button yourself. And at the display tab, we can go to advanced settings there. And something very cool also in there is that you can force the output of your HDMI to VGA. Now what that will do is whenever you hit record, you will see on the 5D Mark II or some other cameras that the resolution of your external monitor will actually change. So that means you have to wait a couple of seconds before you see your image again. Now this functionality will force the resolution to stay intact. So that means whenever you hit record now on your external monitor, it will still be at the same resolution, so you can directly start shooting your film. Alright, then the next step is preferences, and here's also something very cool. We've got arrow/set shortcuts, so that will allow us to very quickly choose our white balance and our ISO. That is something I really dig. Alright, let me go into live view. Let me show you one of its overlay features. So right here on the top right, you can see the zebras. And when I close my aperture, you will see that the zebras go away a little bit. So there you can see how it works. Zebras, very cool functionality. And then with the shortcuts here down below, you can see that the value is changing. This is the white balance that I'm changing right now. And I can do it instantly with just one button. And that allows me to work very fast. Also a very nice feature. Same thing goes for my ISO. I can do that from the left to the right with this, again, with just one button. I can change my ISO without having to go in that ISO menu. Very cool, works very fast. All right, and then finally we've got peaking, and you can see these little pixels, you know, they are wobbling on your screen, and that indicates whether or which subject is in focus. You know, now I'm on the candle, back on that thing, and then back on the ball. That really allows you to keep your subject in focus, something we really need as a DSLR filmmaker, because on that little screen it's hard to see. Also we've got that shallow depth of field functionality we really dig. Alright guys, so that's about it for Magic Lantern. Check out the websites, definitely do that, and you will find out more about its read out its documentation and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm going to say it, use it at your own risk. Alright, and then finally I want to talk about one more thing, and that is also a unofficial firmware, but not for Canon. It's an unofficial firmware for the Panasonic's GH1, 2, and 3 cameras. And basically it also gives more functionality to the camera, but it works a little bit different. You have to install an application on your computer, then connect your camera to it and load some of its settings onto your camera. Now something very cool what you can do with this is you can bump up the frames per second onto 11,000. Now you can't record that much, of course, just a fraction of a second. But you know, when you play it at a normal speed, you have like, I don't know, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or even longer that you eventually have recorded. So for the people that have one of those DSLR cameras, also definitely try to check it out. Again, use it at your own risk. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching again. I have now shown you what Magic Lantern is, how it works, and what it can offer you. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you the basic rig of a DSLR camera. So that allows us to add accessories to the camera, but also to stabilize it. Thanks a lot for watching.